Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing a video today, and it's kind of dark in here. Wow. This video is kind of it's almost a second in a series. There's nothing wrong with blank, because I just keep kind of thinking about this, and I'm just like, oh, there's a lot of these things that people say that over the years, and I've just been like, okay, well, that's fine. I understand that. But it's like, not to be like contrarian, but, sometimes I just like, you have to kind of separate certain things and not mince words, so to speak. So this one is about, I don't think there's anything wrong with political discussions. And what I mean by this is like how you have your typical NPC, liberal, neoliberal, saying, man, we can't talk about that stuff in front of Uncle Charles because he'll start pouting those or espousing those conspiracy theories. And then on the right, you have like, well, we can't go to Aunt Carol's house and talk about how we have guns because she's gonna flip out. It's like, okay, I'm just giving an example here. These stereotypes, right? Because they deserve to, the right-left paradigm needs to be fucking destroyed, but a lot of other things need to be destroyed. Creative destruction. How about that? So I don't like this whole notion that people can't have political discussions, in like families or friends. It's like, well, we don't talk about politics. Oh, we're so cool. There's a strain on our relationship because I know he's a right winger, but I still love the guy. It's like, well, what the fuck kind of bullshit is this if we can't talk about shit? It's like in a relationship. It's like all this pickup artist stuff, and I buy some, but it's like, oh, don't talk about like negative things. It's a DLV. It's demonstration of lower value. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to go up to a girl and say that I have mental health problems, and want to have a date, and shit like that. I mean, that's dumb. And I know someone actually who kind of has done some of that stuff, but it's like, some of these rules are made to be broken occasionally. I just think the reason why we're having problems, this is kind of what the misinformation thing does. David Sirota, very left-wing liberal guy, and Joe Rogan Jon Stewart just came out with these two statements about misinformation, about who decide. They're questioning, well, who the hell decides what's misinformation? You have these Iraq war people go to CNN and shit, like they're lying about the weapons of mass destruction and all this stuff. It's like the reason for misinformation and disinformation or a lack of information is people aren't talking. People aren't discussing. People aren't engaging. And that's what we need to do. So I mean, we need to talk about politics. We need to talk these things through. This is part of our. This is probably why society is so fucked up right now. It's because we don't talk about these things. We don't face the mirror. We don't face the truth. You could say, well, I want to have peaceful relations with my family. Well, if they can't talk to you about politics, then maybe maybe that's on them that they're being a shitty person, or if they deflect like certain people in my family do, or they fucking lie. Basically, sometimes people lie and pretend they understand what I'm trying to tell them, and then they fucking, then they're total NPCs in other ways. There's people, family, friends. I'm not gonna mention names. I'm trying to have peaceful relations with them, but it's like, okay, I talk about all this stuff. Do you not fucking listen? That's what makes me mad. But that's a different subject entirely. But we have to have discussions. We have to have conversations. We have to talk things through. Maybe come somewhere in the middle, just like with the whole, thing that's going on right now, the virus stuff, or the all these things that are going on right now. Inflation or whatever. Well, there's always a truth is somewhere in the middle. That's always been a saying. It's the truth. And why don't we try to meet in the middle? Why don't we try to get to that middle? And how do we get to that middle is by discussing things and talking the things through. we don't just hold on to or, keep things in because it can explode. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's healthy, especially where we're going now. I don't think that's healthy. I think the stupid notion, I get this like these stereotypes more so on the left, of course, because the left has been totally fucking flew the coop the last 5 years since Trump. I mean, I'm not talking about the left, the real left. I'm talking about some of the real left too. That's the problem. Now they are shifting. Now because I see, like as far as some of the left wing voices, some of these like originally marginally left wing sort of voices are so sold out, like Young Turks, that people are starting to see. Wait, you seem like the neoliberals you were attacking like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And now these other voices are coming in and they're actually left and they're actually questioning things. So actually take that back in a way. The real left is emerging again. The populist left and the populist right. It is emerging again. When I see NPR, or not NPR, when I see fuck NPR, fuck them, really. Fuck Vice, fuck NPR, bullshit. When I see Democracy Now! Interviewing people like Glenn Greenwald again, pushing, when I see people kind of coming back to their senses on the left about certain things, certain issues, like, well, wait a second, maybe this is stupid, that's a good sign. I can see this, there's more and more people. I mean, like Glenn Greenwald, for example, or Max Blumenthal, they have a controversial opinion about the what virus, but they said they were scared to speak up about it, in 2020. It kind of evolved. But I think with everything that's going on, I'm not talking about the virus, it's because this is all related. This is all related. Like Richard Wolff will talk about, neoliberalism is a reason for the virus itself, actually. If you look into the contracts and all that stuff, it could be because financial gain, gain of function, all these pharmaceutical companies, medical companies, government collusion. Oh, they do this, releases this thing. So the attack, it's kind of like the war. It's kind of like war. And I came to this conclusion a couple months ago. It's like when the United States says, oh, we're doing this to help the people of Iraq or Somalia or whatever. Of course, there's a problem that the people of Iraq, people of Somalia are having. But that's not the solution that they're giving is not because of that. It's for self-interest. That's what happened with this. It was for self-interest. Maybe not consciously all the time. But anyways, that's a different subject. I'm not talking about that. Anyway, I could do another video on that. I did my war in Vietnam, thing a couple months ago, and I think goes into some of that too. So this whole notion that don't talk about politics. You can't talk about this with your friend. You can't talk about this with your family. And I think it's coming from the left. That like, and I know there's this like noxious feeling because I used to have it myself. I used to be like, oh my God, he's a Republican. Oh my God. Oh, I can't talk about stuff. I even missed I didn't miss a concert. I went to jail. I went to fucking jail because of that attitude. I'll tell you why. Because I went to this Blind Guardian concert over 10 years ago. And I was going to bring this guy who was kind of a right-wing Republican. I was like scared. I was scared of like, talking to him, coming up in politics and stuff. I'm like, oh God, I can't go with him. We might talk about politics. I might get triggered and then lo and behold, I'm driving alone at night. I'm really tired and cold and hungry, and it didn't have any dinner. And then I'm driving bad because of all the like blood sugar or something. And then I get pulled over and go to jail and all this shit. I probably wouldn't have if I had him around. He's like, oh yeah, you're driving too fast, blah blah blah, So I blame that shit for my one time in jail. So if we can't talk about politics, I mean, there's one thing to accept political opinion, people's different political opinions, but but there's another thing about trying to understand them, trying to understand where they're coming from. Where are you coming from? Why do you support drone bombing children? Maybe there's a reason. Maybe you think, the children are going to grow up to be terrorists, so I don't know, some kind of well, fuck that. Fuck people that support drone bombing children. I don't know. I'm just saying, what is motivating people to believe in certain things? Why do they say things? Why do they believe things? We need to talk about things. We need to talk things through, talk things out. Why do you believe this? What research did you do? It's like this whole thing about don't do your don't do your own research. It's like, who the fuck said that? Who the fuck started that? Oh, because there's misinformation out there. Well, I've been reading scientific studies. I've been reading legitimate scholastic articles, journalists, legitimate award-winning journalists for the last 2 fucking years. I've done my own research. I know a lot of what's going on. I know a lot of people have been wrong about things too. Like a certain Harvard professor comes to mind that said, for example, he said the pandemic would end in October 2020. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm just going to say there's a cat in his name, and he did say this. It was pretty crazy. David Katz, I'll fucking just say it. There's a lot of people that said a lot of weird shit, and all over the place. No, I'm not trying to talk about the virus in this video. I'm just saying, I think people need to stop thinking that you can't talk about things with people. It's like, of course it divides people. If you get in arguments, if you lose your cool, but if you try to understand what the other people are saying, what they believe in, why do they believe this? It's like, I remember when the war on terror was going on. It's like, nobody asked this question at first, and then, to their credit, the liberals, the left, started saying, well, why do people go to terrorism? What motivates them? That used to be the liberal thing, by the way. They used to be the left-wing thing. Now it's just like, you're a right-wing racist. Fuck you. You're not calling me by the right pronoun. And that's kind of a cartoon, but it's the truth a lot of the time, So that's the way it goes. I consider myself a left-wing liberal in that area for sure, about looking at the roots of why people believe things and having discussions about it. Let's get to this discussion. I can agree with people. I can talk to people. I can tell them the sources that I get. I can tell them what influences my reality. Some of it might be bullshit, I believed in Alex Jones for years, but he was always partially right, wasn't he? He was always partially right about things. He did read real things, at least he used to. But we could talk about these things, and there's nothing wrong with relatives talking about politics. Maybe not at the Thanksgiving dinner, but there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. Why is this bad? Why is this I'm trying to think of the word, but it's just like, why is this like some kind of taboo now to talk about politics with your friends or relatives? Like, we shouldn't, if you disagree with them, we shouldn't talk about politics with people we disagree with. As a matter of fact, that's probably what we need right now, is to do that. Is to actually engage, as Jon Stewart said, in his now viral video about the Rogan thing. Of course, I disagree with a lot of what Jon Stewart says about a lot of stuff, but he is saying it. David Sirota is saying it, the same kind of thing that's going on. And that's the problem with right now, is this authoritarianism, is this censorship, is because it encourages non-engagement, encourages shaming and smearing of people, and basically unpersoning people that have a different opinion. And that's not what we need right now. That's not how we're going to move forward. That's just going to lead the way. And of course, like Russell Brand would probably say, who is benefiting from that? If you look at who benefits, that's who you get to see why they're doing this stuff. I don't know if it's a conscious thing or not. I don't know if it's a bunch of people in a room, smoky-filled room, cigarette smoking man, or reptilians, or whatever the fuck doing this. I'm not going to say it is. I'm just going to say, or maybe some invisible creatures, as Matt McKinley would say, or whatever. I'm listening to his whole thing. It's very interesting. But I don't know who it is, but it doesn't matter, because who cares who it is? It happened. These things are happening. This is a sequence of events that started in 2015. And it's been this, because this empire is in decline, the whole Trump thing happened, and this, where 2014, 2015, when cancel culture was starting to become a thing, and the Trump thing added to that, and it's just this whole sequence of events that happened. For a while, there was a legitimate criticisms that could be given to the left from the left and the right, but now that we've gone down this dark path as a world, actually. But yeah, but people are waking up. So, But part of the reason why I believe in political discussion, political debate, we have to debate, we have to discuss with people even that we're close to, is because how else are people going to learn about anything that's going on, learn how to change things? They can't by you just saying, well, I'm going to my friend's house, but he refuses to talk about politics. Like my old roommate's like, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. Fucking spraying his groceries with disinfectant during May of 2020. Oh, well, if I told you that, what if I told you that I read 5 fucking studies last night, dude, that surface transmission is rare if non-existent? Oh, well, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. See, that's what that leads to. That kind of bratty fucking, bullshit, mentally ill, neurotic crap. That's about all. Peace out.